Hello, this is Walter Smith. I'm here with Stephen outside the Etihad after some would say is a disappointed result. Not what City needed today.
No, that was basically Pellegrini's 3 years summed up in one 90-minute nutshell. I thought it was like moments of brilliance, moments of quality, skill, endeavour, work rate, followed by just immense frustration. It was really frustrating to see what could have been, and there was a lot of good in today's game, but there was just also moments where we lacked that kind of the leadership of that company would bring, or the solidity, or just a true belief. I guess in the end, it didn't see a team with conviction in their own confidence. Like, they were playing really well at times, but there was never really any kind of belief that they'd actually close it out and win the game, and that was kind of frustrating. And I guess that's also, that's just Pellegrini in a nutshell for me. A man with lots of ideas, but not necessarily all of them good, or not knowing how to kind of actually get it to work. So it was just a typical City game, really, wasn't it? And that's, I guess it summarises the season really well, doesn't it?
You talked about players, or you talked about Manuel Pellegrini, should I say, and sort of the different lights and shades. And I was just wondering, how does that reflect in the players, do you feel?
Maybe. I guess he's got quite a laid-back style, and it doesn't really seem to translate well to the very blood and thunder Premier League, whereas I think it's the kind of manager who you have to have a manager who finds new ways to adapt, because the Premier League is a bit of a muggers alley. It changes every season. There's new ways for people to be undone, and I wonder if, as a result of Pellegrini not really adapting to the league after one season of being found out, if it's happened to the players as well. And there was times during the second half where it was obvious that Arsenal were on the front foot after we'd scored, and they were looking likely to score. That you were just thinking, look, make a reaction to this. Change it, bring it, just make the defence sit a little bit deeper. Don't play the high line. Be a bit tired for 10 minutes just to take the sting out of the game. But there was none of that, and there was no kind of reaction to anything. And that once again is very much in keeping what we've seen for 3 years from him. There was a lot of loyalty to the same ideas, to the same players, and never really any real innovation. And I think he's just basically, I wouldn't say lost the dressing room, because I think they all like him, I think they all respect him. I just think he's maybe not really having an impact anymore, because he's become a bit dull to his ideas and a bit numb to everything that he probably says anymore, and he probably makes him fall asleep. So, in the nicest possible way, great man, but not right for us anymore.
You talk about Pellegrini not being found out as such, and other teams catching us up. Where do you think that's going to leave us the final day of the season, looking at that table? What do you think we're going to be looking at?
I'll be honest, I'm terrified. Absolutely terrified. I cannot bear the idea of being fifth. But if we are going to be fifth, then at least we'll win the Europa League. Maybe, hopefully. We'll be going to Liechtenstein or something like that. But I don't know, they've got to go to West Ham away, United, and that's the last ever game at the Boleyn Ground, last ever one. So West Ham still doing pretty well. I know they had a bad game against Swansea, but they're a good team, West Ham. In front of the home faithful, they will want to sign off on a high, and they'll be going blood and thunder in that game to really, really get out United. So I'm still confident, because that's what we do. We don't do it the easy way. We never have done. We never will do it the easy way. We'll never be clear, and we'll always just about scrape over the finish line. And that's what makes all these victories sweeter for us, because we don't wrap it up with 2 games left. Or 3 or 4 games left. We just wait until the last minute to finally get where we want to be. So I'm confident until the end, always, despite also being very pessimistic. So we're concoction of feelings, but that's it, isn't it?
I like that. A glass half empty and a glass half full, both at the same time. I was just going to ask you, I know you've looked at these players, and I'm just thinking, what players do you think are definitely out the door and not going to suit this new manager's style and structures, and which players do you think are completely suited to it? Well,
I think it's obvious that Boney's going, because he's just a very big square peg in a very small round hole. It just really doesn't fit the City's ethos at all. It's really sad to see it. It's watching something so graceful, so elegant, kind of age so badly, and he's on a really slippy downhill slope, and he's rolling faster and faster down it, and it's quite painful to see how little impact he has on the team anymore. And he's obviously not a first choice, given the fact that Guardiola's sold him once before as well in the past, and he's not our first choice now. It kind of points towards the obvious, doesn't it? You think he's going to go, which is a shame, because it's horrible to see it end this way. Maybe wish he'd gone on a high instead, a year or 2 ago. But I can see him going. I'm worried about company now. He's out for 4 months as well, isn't he? That's terrifying. I don't think he'll go, but I'm worried about that. Kolarov will go, or maybe there'll be a big midfield casualty as well. Don't know who it's going to be, but I want to just see new ideas, new players, because the heart of this team at the moment isn't beating how it should do. So I don't worry about kind of replacing a lot of them, because it's not really, it's not really fully well-functioning machine, is it? It's quite sketchy. So if there's a lot of changes, so be it. Maybe we do need fresh ideas, and a lot of the squad are pretty old now. So the idea of a wholesale changes for me is quite exciting. Get a few of the young lads in as well, get a few changes, and we'll see what happens next year, won't we? So
You talk about getting some of the young lads in, and I know you're an expert just at the youth, or I consider you an expert. What do you reckon of the one or two players that are going to come through?
I think we'll see someone like Alex Garcia, really intelligent Spanish defensive midfielder, very Pep in style. Maybe we'll see someone like Keaton Bryan or Tosin or Rabao give it a go. Maybe the other Garcia, Manu. But Denaya will come back as well, and I think he'll play. So I think he'll look to integrate him slowly over time. But there's plenty there, so fingers crossed we'll see one or two of them next season.
There's plenty there. You heard it here for Blue Moon Rising TV. Subscribe below.